If you could be Jesus Christ for a day, what would you do?
I'd go on a huge bender.
Like with booze?
Booze, drugs, broads, the works.
Yeah.
It would be cool if you're Jesus, because I feel like I do like a Bill Murray kind of thing with Jesus. Like, I passed out at a bar and then Jesus came up and took a picture with me on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'd really freak people out with the fact that I was Jesus. Like, I'd be party Jesus, you know?
I'd be like David Blaine. I'd be like a David Blaine kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's some tricks that I can do that just defy physics.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd get all the broads.
Yeah, because, I mean, bitches love magic, right? What about you, James?
I would just manipulate the masses.
Just for one day?
Like they would all believe it if I was Jesus, you know.
You kind of do resemble Jesus.
A little bit.
You got to be. Yeah, I think James is Jesus.
You're like Nordic Jesus.
Yeah. whatever the Swedes believe in, that Jesus.
Jäger Jesus.
Thor, I guess.
Yeah, or the IKEA god. I don't know.
Coming to you straight out of Valhalla.
Well, either that, or I'd do as Ken he would suggest and go up the country and stay drunk all the time.
Exactly.
Because he can
I
turn
love how
that.
2 of our Jesus fantasies included booze. I mean, if I'm doing David Blaine, I'm drinking too.
Yeah, you're David Blaine for a while, but then by like day 5, you'd be doing kids' birthday parties. It just drunk off your ass. Hey, everybody, I used to be Jesus.
Mommy, what happened to Jesus?
Shut up. Jesus is more powerful than you can...
That'd be a good idea for a movie. Like if Jesus decided to come back to Earth and nobody believed him and he just turned into a loser.
Hey, do any of you kids have any black tar heroin?
Yeah.
No, me neither. No.
He sleeps with the first girl he sees and he knocks her up and he's stuck with this deadbeat wife and a shitty kid.
Oh, God. Can she be played by Kristen Wiig?
Yes. Of course she can.
Well, everybody, let's kick it into high gear here. Welcome back to Circle Jerks 8. We've got a good enough show for you here this evening. It's not the show you deserve, but it's the show you need, you know? So we're going to talk about the Blue Jays and the hot streak they've been having lately. Then we're going to press on. We're going to play a game with Brent called Mumford or Miscellaneous. So if you're a Mumford & Sons fan, kill yourself. And moving on, the third thing we're going to talk about is the upcoming Ontario election. We're going to make some predictions, just slander all of the major candidates rather than talking about important issues. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up by talking about, speaking of slander, we're going to talk about Qatar and the allegations of corruption surrounding their FIFA World Cup bid. And by allegations of corruption, I mean definite corruption. Why not? I mean, seize the moment, right? And speaking of seizing the moment, the Toronto Blue Jays have recently been on quite a tear in the American League East, which is proven to be pretty mediocre this year.
Yeah, well, still 21-9 in May.
That's the best May anyone's had since 1945. But the question I think we really want to talk about here is what was the cause of the success, in your opinion, as somebody who watched most, if not all of the games, and how likely do you think that they are to carry the success forward? Is this just a good month, or can this turn into something more, do you think?
They've got a mixture of pitching that showed up with lethal lineup 1-9. There's no more weak spots right now. Everybody's hitting around and managed to stay relatively healthy.
Well, you know, they have had some big injuries. I mean, Brandon Morrow was a guy who you figured was going to be pretty critical if they were going to make a run. They've been better without him. I'm kind of dreading him coming back, to be honest.
They've managed to not collapse like they usually do. It's usually used as a crutch, but this time they've actually.
Well, and it is only 1 month, and we're like a third of the way into the season. But you know, it's just interesting because normally by this point they're like 9 games out of first place, and the season's already over. So like this time last year, it was already over.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is if we can still be playing, if they can be a relevant team at the All-Star break, then we're in business, I think.
But how likely do you think that they are to carry the success forward? Do you think that it can be replicated, or do you think it's just a hot month?
If they can maintain, they'll be in good shape. Because like you said off the top, it's a shitty division. I mean, Boston's coming back, and the Yankees will probably hang around. But the Rays are a sack of shit. And the Orioles will probably hang around too, but I think if they can maintain, they can probably battle for the division.
My thing, I would characterize myself as being cautiously optimistic. I think that the biggest problem, I think the lineup is dangerous. They're going to hit, and they've shown that they have power in all parts of the lineup. It's not just like the first 4 guys and then it trails off into a bunch of shit, but it's the pitching. And you know, Mark Burley's been really, really, really good. If he's If he's still doing this well in a month, then you have yourself a really interesting conversation. But looking at baseball as a game of averages, their starting staff, there's a potential for it to get a lot worse. There's a potential for some regression. And if they regress, I think they could just as easily go the other way.
I think the chances of the pitching collapsing are more reasonable than the lineup.
You know, on the other hand, when you got a team that can put up 5 or 6 runs a night, you don't really, you just have to be okay, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So we've got a brand new segment that we're going to introduce today. It's called Mumford or Miscellaneous. This is a special game that we've designed just for Brent because Brent doesn't listen to music with white folks in it.
Not a lot.
Not a lot of the white folks, more than he used to, but really Brent's what you'd call a pretty urban guy. So that's what you say when you don't want to sound racist. So what we're going to do is we're going to play 3 songs that either are Mumford & Sons songs or sound like they could be Mumford & Sons songs. And Brent's going to have to guess whether it is Mumford or Miscellaneous.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to get you to close your eyes, Mr. Williams.
All right.
And then we're going to get you to open your mouth. And we're
Notice how I didn't fall for it?
Can we hit the track? All right, here we go.
That is not Mumford & Sons.
Yay! He got it. That is not Mumford & Sons. That is, what song is that, James?
That is Fleet Foxes, Sun It Rises.
So if you wear a scarf, go to iTunes now and download that.
All right, are you ready for song number 2? All right, hit it.
That is Mumford & Sons.
Yeah, he nailed it. He is 2 for 2.
All right, this is the toss-up.
All right.
She'll tear a hole in you, the one you can't repair. But I still love her, I don't really care.
Who listens to this?
we are right now, apparently.
The
That's enough.
That's enough.
that is not.
Oh,
wow.
and he
It
nails
is?
it. It is not.
No, you're right.
It's not? Oh, 3 for 3.
That is Stubborn Love by the Lumineers. You win.
Oh!
Brent Williams, you win the door prize, 3 pounds of beef jerky and a unicycle. All yours.
All mine. But who listens to that? Like, what's the end game for those?
People who get ironic tattoos and you know.
The hipsters, essentially, because they're like hippies, but they're just shittier somehow.
They're hippies that shower? Is that
Pretty much
the game that they're playing?
The metrosexual hippie.
If you're lucky. Take a lick and find out, right?
A metrosexual hippie. Well,
Yeah, and that's
we all have a hobby, don't we?
A 27-year-old copywriter with a Golden Girls tattoo.
Yeah.
That's who listens to that. Okay, well, moving right along. So the Ontario election is just creeping towards us slowly like colon cancer.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? We talked about the Ontario election before, and by talked about the Ontario election, I mean we pretty much just slammed the candidates and or implied that we would like to have sexual intercourse with them. What do you think the outcome of this is going to be?
I think that it's going to be one of the lowest turnouts of an election pretty much ever. Going to be a minority.
But who? I'm saying if you had to call.
Conservative minority.
Mr. Stacy, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say that. Everyone seems to love Hudak.
No,
not everyone, but
just a slice of the pie.
Just say that because you live in Barrie. 27-year-old copywriters here have Tim Hudak tattoos. Finally, a candidate from my generation of asshole. I'm actually going to go with a dark horse pick here. I'm putting my money on a liberal minority.
That's also quite.
It's not improbable. It's not quite a dark horse. I'm not saying the Nazis are going to come back or anything like that. But,
oh, imagine.
No, I'm going with the liberal minority just because I think, last time around it was basically in the bag for Tim Hudak, and he took the bag and shat in it. So he's still got time to shit himself. Oh, absolutely, and I think that he will. But what's interesting is that there've been rumors circulating now that if Tim Hudak does win a minority, that Andrea Horvath might actually back him, which is really, really weird.
Why does she hate Kathleen Wynne so much?
I don't know. Maybe Kathleen Wynne doesn't call her back. I don't know.
Yeah, did they have a bad session one night?
She's one of those girls who hates women.
Yeah, they're called women, James. Oh, the two women who are listening to this don't like that. You know what? No, if any woman is listening to this ever, congratulations. As a man, I'm hereby giving you an honorary dick. Do with it what you will. Yeah, I don't know. I think Andrea Horvath is just some kind of power-hungry bitch. Like, what? Okay, so you were working with Kathleen Wynne because that was getting you off for a while, but now I guess she's not getting it up anymore. So what, you're going to run and support? I think she'll support anybody who rolls into town.
She's just like a leech.
She's a political gold digger.
Yeah.
And when the gold mine runs dry, well,
On to the next one.
on to the next the next one.
I think she's just like a bull in a china shop. Like, this was her idea. We're only going to the polls because she's just a bitch like that.
Yeah, this is your party, Andrea.
Yeah, and you're leaving early.
Well, that's the funny thing in all of this is that she's actually the prettiest girl at the ball. I mean, literally and figuratively. Because, I mean, Kathleen Wynne was trying to get along with her, trying to give her what she needs so that she would support that shitty, illegitimate government.
Yep.
And now Tim Hudak is like, well, yeah, I'm sure if she's going to support him, I'm sure he'll make that deal as long as he doesn't have to give her too much. What the fuck?
Maybe he has an adequate cock.
I doubt that.
Yeah, I'm not giving that good odds.
Because I guess with Andrea Horvath, adequate is enough. Not 8, adequate.
He just kind of beats around the bush.
What she's trying to do
That's all I heard.
is she's trying to appear more moderate to appeal to people who would vote for the Liberals, which is causing problems within her own party. And that's the problem, is that both Tim Hudak and Andrea Horvath have major people in their own party don't like them that much. So first of all, if Kathleen Wynne does win, even if it's a minority, it might as well be a majority because both those idiots are going to be gone right smart. They're going to lose their jobs like immediately if they don't win.
We need to get these chumps. I think no matter what happens, the 2 losing candidates are getting the boot.
I don't want communism, but something more communal. You know.
All right.
What's more communal than democracy?
We can do better than that. You can have a system that's good, worth voting for. Is what I'm getting at. The system where we have now, the vote goes to nothing.
This is the best we can do, James.
It's quite sad.
It's amazing. It's like if you had a student council election and the 3 least popular kids in school were the ones running for president. But let's take the conversation back to more our level. Which one of these 3 candidates do you think has had the most sexual partners?
Tim Hudak.
He pays for them.
Because you didn't say consensual.
Oh.
I'm not being on the radio here saying Tim Hudak's a rapist, but he seems like a guy that wouldn't think twice about, a couple cocktails in, might be a little abrasive on some young ladies.
I think Tim Hudak has never had sex. You look at him. How does he keep his neck? He looks like he has 2 chins, but he only has 1 chin. How can you be that uptight and be somebody who has blown your wad ever? I think it's Andrea Horvath. I think that she's a firecracker.
Like
Why don't you
Mexican?
just admit that you have a sexual crush on Andrea Horvath?
You see, I'm from Hamilton, so I could probably bang Andrea
There's
Horvath.
There's no way you want to bang Andrea Horvath.
I'm not saying I want to bang Andrea Horvath, but I'm not saying I don't want to bang Andrea Horvath. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
I actually do not know what you mean at all.
My dick could go either way.
All right, I'm getting some images of Andrea Horvath right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm making my decision. You know what? Yeah, she seems like she would just lay there and then judge you the entire time.
You're doing it wrong.
I'm telling you, she's very aggressive. I think she's a sexual she-bull.
But she never gets to the point. She never gets down to business. She
just breaks a bunch of shit.
Fucks with you.
I
and
think
then
she fucks
runs
you
away
until you've come, and then she just kind of keeps going, and you're like, okay, it's kind of starting to hurt, and she's like, no, I'm not done.
It's me time now, and it's like, no.
When are we going to be done? We're done when Andrea gets her medicine, I guess.
Yeah.
God. Is it hot in here? Or is it just me? God, this is a hot election. Okay, another
so scandalous.
Another way of looking at it. Which one of these three candidates, which one of these three candidates would you choose to be stranded with if you had to choose one of them?
I'll choose the Green Party candidate just because they don't give a
No,
fuck.
we have to pick the three major candidates because they're all terrible.
Andrea Horvath.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I would have to bang her.
Yeah, you're pretty much making your dick walk the plank at that point.
Well, yeah, the other two probably aren't interested, other than Tim Hudak. And I'm not saying Tim Hudak's gay, but he seems like a guy that after a couple cocktails would become quite aggressive with a young man.
And I'm not saying Tim Hudak is responsible for 9/11. All I'm saying is, where was Tim Hudak on 9/11?
Yeah, does he have an alibi?
Does he have an alibi? And I'm not saying Tim Hudak was born in Kenya. I'm just saying we haven't seen his birth certificate.
I need a birth certificate, Timmy.
Gonna need one.
I'm pretty sure he's the bastard twin of Assad.
Yep, you just said it, so that means it's true.
Yeah.
I think I would most like to be stranded with Tim Hudak. The reason why it would be Tim Hudak is because it would be really easy for me to kill Tim Hudak. And if I'm going to survive, I'm going to need nutrients. And I'm going to be getting them from the person I'm stranded with. So, I mean, I'd kill him like day one. It will be over real quick. Hey, Tim, can you come over here and explain your 1 million jobs plan to me? Bang, right off the side of the head of the rock. Well, that's one more person we don't have to worry about getting a job for, bitch!
Precisely.
What about you, James? And you can't choose the green candidate. You have to choose one of the three ones who are terrible.
Well, I actually really have never heard much about Kathleen Wynne.
I was going to say, if you're trapped with Kathleen Wynne, she's just going to be jogging around the island the whole time. Hey, can you come sit
trying
down?
to make it look like your neighborhood.
And then she's going to sit down and try to relate to you in a really awkward way that you can tell is forced. And it's just like, oh, I feel like I'm talking to Hillary Clinton. Like, I'm not even talking to a human being anymore. To be honest
I
with you,
just kill myself.
I'd rather fire a nail gun up my cock than have to spend 5 minutes with any of these people. All right, well, let's press along. The final item we're talking about here today is Qatar and their. I mean, this is just shocking, but apparently there might be some corruption. Corruption in FIFA? Say it ain't so.
Next, you're gonna tell me that there's corruption in the Olympics.
No,
Say it ain't so.
Dick Pound got rid of all the corruption in the IOC in like 1994, right?
Yeah, it's been smooth sailing since '94.
Shout out to Dick Pound, who must have had just a really rough childhood.
Yeah.
Roll call, Pound Dick.
Is there a Pound Dick here? Anybody? I'm looking for Pound Dick.
So if anybody didn't bring lunch money, you know where you can get some. Anyway, Qatar.
What do you mean there's corruption? That's ludicrous. Because a place of 1 million people that nobody heard of until they got the World Cup. That's legit.
No, I would have thought it was a perfectly logical choice to put a soccer game in the middle of a desert where you literally cannot grow grass.
Yeah, it would have to be turf, and if they opened up the stadium, the turf would melt. Because they have the World Cup in June.
Well, let's talk about what was the alleged amount of the bribe in question.
Oh yeah, they're only admitting that maybe just maybe there was a $5 million bribe.
$5 million.
$5 million.
That's it. $5 million.
That was probably the dinner that the guy took the other guy out to bribe him.
Yeah, you spend $5 million on the envelope you put your FIFA bribe in. But the corruption in not just with FIFA but with the IOC, which we were talking about, is a major issue, and it's causing some and this is why you have Olympics in places like Russia. This is why you have World Cups in places like South Africa, where South Africa's come a long way, obviously, but the only person who made any money off of the World Cup in South Africa was Coca-Cola. All the people in South Africa didn't make any goddamn money. They pretty much put fences up to keep the actual people out.
You couldn't be within a kilometer of the stadium.
You have Olympics in China. You have obviously you're gonna have the World Cup in Brazil, where there's like the worst ghettos in the world.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't do much for the dignity of international sport, does it?
Not at all. Not
that we're the people necessarily to be talking about dignity, but that's how serious people are about these kind of prestige bullshit events. Just to have people go, oh, look at Qatar. We're talking about Qatar this week. Like,
oh, it's a tourist. It's all for tourism.
Maybe somewhere there's someone who's thinking, oh boy, I can't wait to bring Martha and the kids to Qatar. But I don't know. Well, with Sochi, the reason why Putin was so desperate to have the Olympics there is because it's part of this whole Caucasus revitalization plan that he's
We're
pushing.
different.
He wants it to be like a touristy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, again, Martha and the kids are gonna love going to Russia.
Yeah, let's
Hey
take
kids, why don't you try shooting some crocodile?
You ever been to the Gulag, kids?
Get your picture taken with Uncle Joe. And it's not even like Qatar is a particularly terrible country
No.
by any means. It's not like you can.
Got to pay a lot to live there. Clearly, maybe $5 million.
I think Qatar is one of those countries that don't have any taxes though. So if you're a real Mitt Romney type, you might want to look into going to Qatar. I don't know.
It's just what a horrible idea. I think what this actually is FIFA regrets saying yes to Qatar because they foresee it being a disaster.
Well, because again, Qatar is not a bad country. It's just like you physically can't play soccer in Qatar.
In June in Qatar
You just
because it's a health issue for the players. It's the same guys that let the idiots in Sochi build on a mountain.
The geologists were like, no, because there's like water beneath the surface and it's like really dangerous and you can't do that. And then they'd be like, fuck you with your PhD and shit. We're going to do it anyway. And then like they were having problems with things collapsing and not working. And then they were going, oh, I don't know why that. Fucking idiots.
Like it's that obvious that when you hear Qatar getting the World Cup, like obviously the conversation, well, is it viable in Qatar? Oh yeah, we'll be fine. No, it takes a simple Wikipedia of Qatar and their climate to know.
Take a look at the temperatures here.
That's stupid. Yeah, clearly they just didn't do it. Why? Because they were bribed and it wasn't $5 million. Oh, we just noticed it after 5 years. Oh, maybe we're wrong and how can we cover it up? Scandal. But it was only $5 million, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Look away. Also, watch the World Cup. Bring money next week.
Well, we got to wrap up the show. We got to find something for some closing banter.
If you were a woman for a day, what would you do?
I'd pretend to be Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Because I'd have long hair.
I tell everybody that Jesus was actually a woman.
And that's exactly the reaction you get,
It
right?
might make more sense with the whole immaculate conception bullcrap.
Nah, that's bullshit. There was this guy the other day who was trying to tell me that Jesus was actually Jewish, and I was like, that doesn't sound like it. That I know enough about history.
That is not grounded in fact.
That's infidel talk, you know?
The Jews never really existed.
No.
No.
The Holocaust is not real.
Yeah, especially not real.
Of course not.
Jews didn't exist. How can the Holocaust be real?
And I'm not saying that Tim Hudak faked the Holocaust. I'm just saying there's no proof that Tim Hudak didn't fake the Holocaust, you know?
Or even better,
that's free speech.
May or may not have caused the Holocaust.
Well, you know, I think that's something that we could talk about on a future cast. I think that's something that we should really set aside half an hour to debate. We'll really talk about some major issues.
Speaking of Holocaust, vote next week.
Yeah, vote or die.
Vote or die. Or like James, become communist.
I'm not communist. I'm not Stalin.
He's not Stalin, he's just Stalin for time. Well, that's all we have for this week. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening, for feeding into our bloated egos. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Get out and vote, and for all of the wonderful candidates that we have, I mean, at this point, I guess just pick one. On behalf of Mr. Williams, producer James Stacy, I'm Robbie Woods. Thanks for listening. See you next time.